Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Father Talks podcast. I am your host, Mike D. I am here today with Mr. Alan Glanfield. Alan is a little near and dear to my heart because he's a Canadian. A lot of my wife is a Canadian. A lot of my close friends are Canadians, and some of my dearest family are Canadians. So guess what? I had to make sure I had Alan on the show today. Alan runs a business called Chuck.
That's
He
right.
travels with his family full time. Alan just got back from, what do you say, Australia?
Yep, we were just in
Yeah.
Australia for the past 3 months. Yeah,
Outstanding. So,
yeah,
Alan, hey, welcome to the show, man. It's a
yeah.
pleasure
Thanks
to
for
have you
having me.
here. Yeah, listen, the pleasure is all mine, man. I'm excited to talk to you and, talk about, what you're doing, what you're up to, what you got planned next. So, um, I want to jump right into it because, listen, so I was looking through your profile and everything, and there was something that stood out to me. It was it was a statement you had on there. It was the good old days are right now. And I'm like, wow, that, I love that because, especially as a father, you need to be fully immersed in everything you can while you can, because once your kids hit a certain age, they don't want to hang out with us. They don't want to, associate with us because they're too busy with their friends. So the good old days are right now. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it it's not something that I think, or it's not a thought that comes naturally to any of us, I think, but it's something I try to sort of keep in the front of my mind as much as possible, because I think you run into anyone who, especially with children, with older kids, they're like, oh, like I remember those days. Those are good days. Life was easier. It felt whatever. And I think you just kind of hear it enough, and you're like, you know what, like, and then you kind of become that person too. You see younger parents with kids younger than yours, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, remember that? That was good. And and it's just something I'm constantly trying to remember, that no matter where we are, like this will be a time that we'll look back on fondly, and to take it another step further, um, do things that you know that are worth remembering, that are worthy of being good old days, right? Don't just let these moments, let your kids at the certain ages that they're at just kind of float by. And that sort of really has been an inspiration around taking some pretty bold moves, for sure.
Right. And
Yeah.
listen, I respect that. Um, I can tell you, my kids are definitely older than yours. In fact, I'm a grandfather now, and I can tell you, the time flies by, and you enjoy every second while you can, good, bad, and otherwise, because there with kids, it flies by so fast. All these moments that you look back on them like, Jesus, that seemed like it was just the other day, and it's
Yeah.
been 10 years.
Mhm.
So. And kudos to you. I mean, with you guys, especially with you guys traveling at. How's that
Yeah.
been?
Yeah. So that I think it would have been last year, or around this time last summer. It was just sort of kind of, well, before that, we're already pretty big travelers, so it wasn't like totally wild, but yeah, like last year we were kind of toying with this idea of um, what would happen if we like pulled the kids out of their school and just left,
Mhm.
and traveled with them again, with this whole like thought that like they're only this big now, and can we help build up their personalities and identities, and sort of strength through kind of giving them these like wild experiences,
Right.
and yeah, so, but we can't. The one advantage we had is I can take my work with me,
Right.
but we definitely were in a position to be having a whole home, the cost of living at home plus do this. So we packed all our stuff away into storage. We found renters for our house. We literally just exited our home we've been in for 10 years,
Yeah.
which was weird and wild to like basically like, here's my home, I guess. Um, and, uh, and with that gave us the funds to, kind of hit the road. So we were homeschooling and, working on the road and we flew to Greece and started there, and we traveled all through Europe. Um, Ended up in Ireland in around Christmas time, and flew home for Christmas, uh, and then again waited out about a month to get a new renter to rent out our house. And once we got that, we hit the road again,
It's
and
outstanding.
we were in Australia and New Zealand up until last month.
See,
Um,
and
and it's been nuts. And now it's just like anything, traveling any like a trip any less than like 4 weeks feels like, you're like, well,
right,
why? Well, why? Like we gotta just go longer than that. So now it's like an addictive thing for sure.
right.
Um, and when you kind of let go of your space and
Hmm.
let go of your home, and you throw out and purge and just get rid of all the things that don't matter, because like really it's, you either got to pay to put it somewhere or you just let it go.
Right.
It was a very like, it was a really interesting, the whole thing was interesting, not just about travel, but just about just minimizing like everything, and just kind of getting rid of the unnecessary bloat
Right.
that we kind of
Just having less
carry.
stuff.
Less stuff. And
Yeah.
even just watching the kids, how they deal with less stuff, and how it's actually like just their imaginations and their ability to like take less things and like build worlds out of them. And for hours, I'm like, you had way more things and you got bored so fast. And it was almost like pushing them to just explore and use their imagination
And it's
by having less, was like it was really cool. It's been a cool year.
yeah. My son went to he went to school in Canada for a while, and we talked about taking a trip, but we were worried about taking him out of school, and we had a conversation with his principal. And she told us flat out, she said, these opportunities do not come around often. And everything that they learned in school, you know, most of the stuff, and she was honest, she was like, they're not going to remember half of the stuff or they're not going to use it. But taking your child abroad, going on a vacation, and all that stuff, those are things that really educate your kid more than some of the things that we do in school. And I'm like,
Absolutely.
wow. And we had talked about going on this trip for like it was like 2 or 3 weeks we were going to be gone. She was like, he's in a good place in school right now. I would not worried about it. Teacher's going to send homework with him and that, and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So
We never got any pushback from any teacher. They were like,
really,
this is the coolest thing. Go.
yeah,
Like, they're just the, the lessons you'll learn, the qualities you'll sort of, um, gain just from travel, being used to being uncomfortable, being like, being able to like roll with it, plans changing, all these like things that the kids are forced to deal with, like, is so much more valuable than like what you would do in school, and in a lot of ways. Um, and I think that was it. It's like, whatever, like, if they, it's just, it's just a period of time, whatever they maybe fall back on or fall behind on. It can always be caught up, can always be made up. And we obviously brought school with us. Um, but it's like everything becomes more like an educational moment,
okay,
you read, you can help navigate, you can help find our way through here, you can deal with currency, you can do these things, you can help us like navigate the airports, find our terminals. Like, all of a sudden everything becomes a game and an educational.
right.
So it's just a complete shift. And it's yeah, no, there was no pushback from a school standpoint. It was just like, everyone was like, this is so cool, you got to do this, and like
Right.
whatever happens, they'll be fine,
Yeah, that's then what that's awesome to hear because you don't get that, you don't get it a lot. So many people always have their opinions and that, and you being able to immerse your kids in other culture, other than everything, they get to see more than just their corner of the world. You know, So now they've got a broader view when they have a conversation with somebody. You know, they've got a broader understanding of the rest of the world. You know, when they're talking to other people, because guess what? They've seen other places. They've been, you know, they've done other things other than, you know, in your guys' case, just in Canada. You know, for my kids, we travel quite a bit through the military, and that we've been all over the U.S. You know, and I got to be honest with you, the last few years, we even stopped like buying Christmas presents.
Hmm.
Every year we've decided to take a trip or something the past 3 years, almost 4 years. Yeah, going on 4 years, 4 years this year. And I found that my kids remember far more about a trip that we took than a gift that they got 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
they can tell you details that, I mean, listen, I'm getting a little bit older there that things I don't yet remember, you
Oh
know.
yeah,
Yeah, but the kids will tell you verbatim, like, hey, we did this in this spot. Remember when we went here? We saw this. And it's amazing the amount of things that they retain, you know, being on an adventure, you know,
for sure.
not just a gift. So
Yeah, we get that. It's like, remember, we were like, I was eating that pizza in that little spot and that little, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, first of all, you've had many pizzas on this trip, but,
yeah,
um, yeah, it's very, very, it's amazing their ability to remember and recall these moments and how
yes,
much that matters to them. And it's also really exciting and fun to just hear about what did mean something to them.
yes.
It's like, you're like, really? Like that was your favorite part, And it's often surprising. You're like,
Yeah,
you know,
it's the more mundane things, you know, the tiny
yeah,
things that you think that wouldn't matter to a kid. Those are the things that stand out, you
yeah.
know, because I know
It's the
my
whole
boy.
kids just have more fun playing with the box than the toy. It's
Yes,
that
yes,
applies
that's my
also, it
grandson right
seems, in
now.
real life. In
That's my
real life, you're
grandson
like,
right now.
oh my gosh, we
He's got
didn't
all
need to
these
do
damn
the fancy
toys.
thing.
Yeah, he's got all these toys and won't play with none of them. He'd rather play with the extension cord, you know, and
Yeah,
that. I'm like, oh my
exactly.
God. I'm like, all right, so
Yeah.
I'm
And
just
it
gonna go
just,
get you a bunch of cords to play with.
I know.
Um,
I know. It's great.
so all right, was there ever a point in time where you or your wife kind of maybe had second thoughts about doing this? Like you gave second guess, you know, trying to travel with the kids and run your
Oh,
business?
oh yeah. I mean, it's like every other day you're like, what are we doing? Right? No, that's that feeling comes and goes all the time. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it's no different. Like you're gonna have, everyone has hard days at home. You're gonna have hard days traveling. The only nice thing about being away is you're not the kind of the daily grind of just like little things and problems you have to deal with in life kind of are not there. It's like you're very much more focused on either work or family. Like you're just like, I'm either working or we're spending time together. I don't have to mow the lawn. I don't have to go do that little errand. I don't have to fix the little thing that I've been told to fix. It's you're very much focused, which is really, really neat. You kind of strip
Hmm.
away all the other things. But yeah, there's for sure there's lots of doubt in why are we doing this? Because, and I think when that really comes up is just like anyone who travels, you're going to end up in situations that aren't ideal, whether it is an accommodation issue or something, and that just sort of magnify it. Like when that's your life and you're like have to live with it, those there are moments for sure where you question like the like why are we putting ourselves through this?
Right.
Um, but then it's like, it before you know it, you're just like whatever it is, you're in an amazing place. You're doing something with the kids, and you forget about it again.
Yeah. And
But I
most
think
people,
it's like I think that's it. Is people are like, wow, that sounds really hard. I'm like, what's hard? Being at home. Like being at home is hard too. Like there's lots of things that are like challenging about being at home, and it's just you're just trading. Like it's not easier, it's not harder. It's just different. Yeah.
right. All right. So let's talk about Chuck.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I need to understand this because how are you running this a business and traveling with two little kids?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's not even like that's like a startup too. Like
Yeah,
it's not
which
like I have
requires
this.
so much more hands-on.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like well, this is humming along and I'm just maintaining it. It's very much like we're launching this brand.
Okay.
Um, but the nice part of it, and I mean to just to quickly mention, yeah, Chuck is it's we've created a meat stick or a meat snack sort of brand, um, really built around traveling, and like it is really the backbone of what inspired it anyway. So for us being on the road was not necessarily a bad thing. I would say it was almost a marketing opportunity,
Okay.
because we were always looking for some sort of protein snack that was single serving, shelf stable that we could take with us. And I personally would often lean to things like jerky and whatnot, but um, that texture and toughness was just not kid friendly. So, and I feel like more often than not, we're looking for ways to just get protein in the kids. I'm like, long days in the car. I'm like, you can't just live off crackers. You gotta get something else. So it's like, and it's sometimes hard depending where you are to find something. So it was just like an easy protein source that the kids really loved. And so we wanted to develop our own, using, specific clean ingredients and kind of doing that. So, but yes, like, by the time we were packing up to leave, last September, like we were just getting our first round of product. And so I was literally like leaving kind of not even fully, um, yeah, ready to ship or anything. So I just had to call in favors from friends and family to kind of be boots on the ground here from a product and fulfillment side. And I just continued running the business from an
Okay.
e-commerce perspective on the
Okay.
road. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I was telling my wife about this and whatnot. She was like, "Wait a second, how is he? He just started the business. How is he doing all this stuff on the road?" I'm like, well, I imagine, and I was telling her, I was like, I imagine he's not making meat sticks in like a van somewhere, you
No,
know?
no, no,
Yeah,
I'm definitely not making the product. So, especially when it comes to meat-based foods, we obviously have to be very strict with how things are
right.
produced. So, um, I found partners who could make it, make the product the way I wanted to make it. And so obviously they took ownership of the production of the product. And then in-house, we do all the final packing, in into like secondary packaging, like bags and boxes,
Mhm.
and then our fulfillment. We do that all in house here. But like I said, just basically had to call friends and family and be like, guys, like I need you to help me pack this stuff. So um, and then yeah, like again, it's mainly e-commerce, so we're mainly selling through Amazon in Canada, through our own website and things like that. So lots of maintenance, lots of work, lots of content, social media, whatever to do like that I can do anywhere, right? So that was sort of the role. But
Well, I tell you what, we're gonna make sure that we talk about Chuck all over the ads when we post this video. Do as much promotion for you as we possibly can.
I
You know,
appreciate that.
no, listen, man. I love the fact that you're out with your family, you're living your best life, doing, you created a business, and still making time for family. You don't get to hear that a lot, where people, they're running a business and they've still made family a priority.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, I think I've been very like um focused on this idea that they're like of their ages, whatever. They're like 8 and 5. And I'm I'm like, man, this is just like time's gonna run out. I'm like, we gotta do something big now. We gotta live big now. I'm like, I can work harder, I can put my head down and focus on other things, years down the road when they're not maybe as around as much. So I'm just sort
Yeah.
of like, I don't know, it's not reverse retiring, but it's like I'm like, I need to deliberately have more free time now.
Yes.
And trust me, it's like it takes career wise, it sets you back. Like there's no doubt. when I compared to myself, when I watch people around me, um, who kind of aren't doing it the way I'm doing it, it's definitely different, right? Like they're pushing their careers forward. I'm just choosing, I'm deliberately choosing to not do it that way.
Yeah.
Um,
But
and
like
it's
we
just,
said,
yeah, just the way I am. I prioritize family. I'm not overly, we all need money to survive and live, but it's not what drives me. Um,
right,
and, um, and I just want to build something fun and do it with my kids too. So I'm trying to loop them into the whole thing, loop them into the whole entrepreneurial thing, and get them. I'm like, hey, if you don't want to sell meat sticks, I get it, but like, let's sell. What do you want to sell? Why don't we make something that you could sell? And again, another way to kind of give them an education is like, well, why don't we like? I want them to know that whatever they dream, they can dream up, they can create it and put it out in the world and see what people think. And I've done that many, many times, and they fail and they fail and they fail. And, and this, I'm excited to say that this one seems to be sticking, which is like pretty cool, but it's
right.
definitely not my first stab at it. So
Though you're you're setting an example for a lot of younger men to follow, and actually, you may even be setting, a standard from even smaller guys. Because you can't take the money with you. At the end of the day, and who's going to be there at your funeral? Your kids. The people on the board and everything, or however big your company gets. You know, yeah, they're going to
yeah,
show up with flowers because they have to, not because you're super important to them. Your kids, your kids are going to be the ones who write your eulogy.
for
You know,
sure.
well, spending
And
as much time with them and creating a future for them, is outstanding. And I wish more people saw it that way. You know,
yeah, and they're not kids forever. So it's like,
right,
if you want to work because you're like, I want to, I want to save as much money as I can, so then I can travel, so then I can have free time, so then I can do that. And you're like, guess what? You're doing it alone because your kids are older now and they're probably
right,
off doing their own thing. And
hmm
so I'm like, I get it, I understand it, and I am, but I'm like, but the problem with it is time's not like time won't it doesn't wait for you. And
exactly,
so if you're like laser focused on that, yeah, your family, they won't be 8 again.
right,
And trust me, taking an 8-year-old to the beach is a whole lot more
yes.
fun than bringing a 28-year-old to the beach. They're not going to be, collecting shells and
They're not
doing the
they're
little
not gonna
8-year-old
ask you to
things.
they're not gonna ask you to hang out with them. They're not gonna ask you to build a sandcastle.
Yeah.
They're probably at 28, they're listening. They're checking out girls on the beach and like, "Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
god, I'm sitting here with
They're
my
like,
parents. This is
yeah,
I'm not getting it."
exactly.
Yeah,
And
I
so
got a 19-year-old. Trust me. You know, we go to the gym
yeah,
together. We go to the gym together still. That's about it. You know.
that's pretty cool though.
Yeah. But
I
so
And I think that's it. I want to make sure that as they grow older, that we just have things. We connect in certain ways and we have
yeah,
interests and I just figure, yeah, the sooner we do it, the more we can have to bond on as they grow older. Instead of like missing it and then just like trying to kind of work backwards and connect and not really
trying to
knowing how to
reconnect.
connect. Yeah.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
building a legacy that most men won't get the opportunity to, because
Yeah.
you're prioritizing family over your finances, over, driving a Mercedes, over a huge house or whatever have you. Family is the
Yeah.
priority, and unfortunately in this day and age, society, makes us focus on other things other than family, when families at the end of the day is the most important thing, because those are the people that are going to be there for us.
Yeah. And I think, and again, if you spend enough time with just without much of this, then kind of whatever you can fit in a suitcase, you're like, oh yeah, like I want, I want to be really close to my family. It's really nice to have a couple solid friends. That's
Yeah.
like, that you can kind of like connect and talk with the other things that you may not talk to with your family. And then you're like, and then my health, like you're like, I just want to feel good. Um, Outside of that, don't need much else. Like,
Right. So,
Yeah.
question for you: how has the traveling affected your marriage? Has it brought you guys closer? Is it? I imagine with the kids, sometimes it can be stressful, but how's your relationship doing?
Yeah. I mean, so like what you don't get is any alone time. Like, you all like, so all four of us are like, we're together every day, all day, which is awesome. Like, I love it. But yeah, when we got back recently, we're like, we need to go away again,
Mm,
just without the kids. Like, just have a minute to ourselves. But, um, I think like, I don't know. I'm going to, from my perspective, it's great.
mm,
For us, but I have to say, we have spent, um, most of our relationship.
right. Okay.
We've worked together. We worked together on businesses together. We've traveled. We've lived in other parts of the world together. We've been around each other like 24/7, a lot of our relationship. So it wasn't like, oh, we're going away and I'm not used to this. So I have to say, like, I might be, it's hard to comment on that, and that may in a way that would relate to others, because it actually wasn't that much of a shift for us.
Yeah.
But
It
it's
sounds
great.
happening.
I think it's the same thing. Um, you become very close. Like, and when you're away, there's you each other, just like your kids. Like, we're all we have. We're our we're we're our only friends. We're friends and family in these scenarios, right? Like, we can go and try and quick make some friends at the park or whatever, but like, it's all we have. And so you really just appreciate each other. And some days are hard, but I think and again, the whole good old days thing, it's like, you can look back on even the previous week and be like, man, like, that was great. That was a great time. So,
Yeah, I know. Listen, man, we just got back from Puerto Rico a couple months ago,
oh, nice.
and my son and his wife, me and my wife, my son and my daughter, we all went, and we didn't we didn't go to any tourist spots and things like that. We just did places where we could be together as a family. We talked, we took a boat, did all this stuff, and it was a little tedious at times, because we're all cramped in the same car, we're driving all over the island, but once again, it was another trip that we made all these great memories, you know, and I don't even remember what the couple of, spats we got into were even about. I just remember the food, the beach, just having a good time.
Yeah,
Those are the things that, I
absolutely.
remember getting into an argument about some stuff, but wasn't anything that obviously worth remembering.
Yeah. And I think I mean, traveling's so good for that. And it's good for the kids, and especially like, your kids your age. It's like, it's a chance for them to really like continue to get to know you, right? Because I think it's hard to, you have to know a lot about your parents. And I find in the daily life, you just really don't get that much time to like bond and connect often. And I find
Yes.
travel often opens people up, and because you're more relaxed. And so I hope that, yeah, even as our kids get older, like, we'll just continue to bond and learn more about each other. And
Yeah. And I
yeah,
can tell you from personal experience, like my parents, great people. I love them to death, but my parents worked a lot, so there were a lot of opportunities for us to talk and spend time together that we just missed out on because they worked so much to try to provide for us. And I'm grateful for that. But I would have, even today, I think about it, I would have been okay with less to have more time with them, you
of
know?
course. Yeah.
So,
And it's
um,
not always that simple, right? But, um, we don't, we don't always know like why people are making the choices they're making. And so I never want to be like, you should just do it my way. Cause like, it's not that simple. Like, I
right.
understand that.
Yeah.
But but if, especially again, like, the difference now, right, is like, we can take our business with us. We can bring a laptop, and often, depending on the career, bring your work with you, And so it's not saying don't work anymore. Just like YOLO it and disappear. Like, you can't, we know that we can't do that, but Um, you'd be surprised how many reasons you come up with to like why you're like, well, you know what, I should, I can't end my day at 3 or whatever, so I can pick my kids up. Like you can figure it all out. You can if you.
So with the kids, and with you guys traveling with the kids and everything, what do you think the biggest lesson your boys are learning right now?
Two girls.
Two girls. I thought you said two
Yeah,
boys.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
two
I'm
girls.
sorry.
Biggest lesson I'm learning.
The kids are learning. What
The
do you think
kids
the
are
biggest
learning.
lesson? Yeah.
They're like, well, this happened. Yes, I think they're learning. You definitely learn that the world certainly does not revolve around you as much as they like think it does, and they like you learn pretty quick that like um the planes are late, the car rental, whatever didn't work. It's like, oh, we this is closed, that's closed. We're in a new town and everything's shut for the night. Like we're all going hungry. Like we have no food. Like it is what it is. Um, you've they've really learned that you need to be willing to like you need to be willing to be flexible with
Gotcha.
whatever your desires are. So we even noticed that yesterday that we had a big plan to go to the movies and go for lunch, and we were going to do this whole thing yesterday. And then we're like, oh, we actually can't do that. Um, and we're like, oh, we're trying to come up with a way to tell them we have to change the entire day, and kind of bracing for like everyone to make a big deal about it.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, okay, they like just they accepted the change and just kind of moved on, and we proposed a different way of doing it, and we all moved on. And we had that conversation afterwards, like, wow, like they just seem so much more flexible with change ever since we've been away.
It's outstanding.
Because I think you're always like you're just faced with it all the time, weather, everything, and at home you're just not faced with as much of that. And so you therefore think the world revolves around you. Like, so I get, I say, I get it. Yeah.
Let me see. It's amazing, man, because you got your kids are little, and I wish I could have taken my kids more places, especially while I was in the military. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but again, the trips that we have gone on when we get together as a family, you know, it's still the things that they bring up. You know, remember that time that uh, we were snorkeling and the water got in your snorkel and you thought you were going to drown. Like, seriously, you guys are going to bring that up in front of
Yeah.
everybody, you know, you know, but
It's
you
usually
know,
something at your expense, right?
yeah, yeah. But they're so much more adventurous now. They're more adventurous. They're willing to do things out of their comfort zone. you know, just because they've been so many different places, they've dealt with so many people and, different environments, and I love that they, they could go to a new school, new state and make friends with anybody because we've traveled so much and through the military, they've had to make new friends, through, getting moved around in that, changing schools, so they're really adaptable, and again, I love that about them, and I see that through your travel, through the time that you spend with your kids, they're going to be the type of people that, can adjust to any situation, at a moment's
Right.
notice because they're used to change.
That must have been like, and that's the thing, right? Like I have to imagine like moving that much obviously was challenging for them, and probably like, it wasn't probably like an enjoyable experience every single time. Right.
No.
Um, and I think that's it too, right? Is I think um, it's not always, it's just not like sometimes you're making these moves because it's going to lead to, yeah, better things. It's going to lead to stronger personalities. Um, and, even though it is tough, like it's not just like making these choices or like easy at
Yeah.
the time either. Right. it can be hard. But I think we hope that like, yeah, that creates sort of resilient, flexible, open-minded people. And like, yeah, I had a hard time making friends. And so it's cool to see them how quickly now, yeah, like you said, it's like they can land on the playground and be like, let's play, you know? And I'm like, I would have never, I was just like, would have never done that. I
Yeah.
was just not that kid. So it's neat. And they aren't naturally either. They're like developing that ability to realize that like, what's the worst going to happen?
So, all right, let's go back to the business a little bit. Okay. What you said that you started other businesses before. Okay. What got you what got you started with Chuck? You know, or what were some of the other businesses that didn't work out but kept you stay motivated enough to stay in the game to start this?
Yeah. Um, so, my career story, my story is work. It's just sort of, none of it makes sense on paper. But it all like it kind of one rolls into another. And, um, so I've been an entrepreneurial sort of person, not really easily employable. Just been always something I've always just said, well, I'm going to push to do my own thing. Way back, even from, like high school, like just cutting lawns or whatever. And I actually started a screen printing business. So like printing t-shirts, like what you're wearing.
Okay.
And from there I said, well, it'd be cooler if I could make it's cool to print on a shirt, but what if you had to actually make the shirt as well? So I'm like, I gotta learn how to make shirts. I gotta learn how to actually make the clothing as well as print on the clothing. So I ended up going to school down in New York City at the Fashion Institute of Technology for menswear design. So I spent 3 years down there. Worked for Marc Jacobs did an intern with them, and then came back to Canada to work for a menswear company here. And during that phase, I started to poke my head into the marketing department there. And it was marketing and e-commerce. So as a designer, I was kind of realizing that, yeah, you can make a great product, but it's not enough. The brand has to be strong. The marketing team has to be strong. Sales has to be
Yeah.
strong. Like everyone has to work together to produce a great end result, which is sales. And so I started poking my head into that department, and that's where I started to become more knowledgeable in the marketing area. And it was right around that time where Shopify, the e-commerce kind of platform, was like just coming kind of out and available in a big way, where you could like sell your own products. So at night I was starting e-commerce companies, like creating products. So my first product line was like dog grooming products, and it was just, I'm just basically looking around like at the problems I have and just like, solve that problem. So I had a French bulldog. He had skin issues. So I'm like, great, let's create dog grooming products to deal with like dry skin and skin issues in dogs. So we started, I found the producers to produce products and started selling those, and it did okay. I mean, you do like 40K a year. Like it was like a small like salary.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's still a start.
and it was just like nighttime, like starting these businesses, continuing kind of taking on the fashion in the clothing world, and um, eventually eventually sort of pivoting, like leaving the clothing world, because to be honest, like in the US, there's many cities you can like have a great career in fashion and clothing. In Canada, it's like not so much. So I started to actually take my e-commerce and marketing knowledge that I gained while I was at that job, um, and just started to help other people start e-commerce businesses. So, do you know like ButcherBox?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So like I helped build something like that up in Canada.
Really?
So someone like a company that will send, fresh cut or meat to your door, um, and sort of helps kind of move to more of starting my own things, but also just consulting and helping other people build e-commerce businesses. And I did that over many years. And I think it was just sort of starting to watch and see like, okay, what are the products that work and don't work? And so for me, it was looking for things that would have a really broad audience where you're not hyper specific, like where there's many different sort of cohorts of people that will consume the product, as well as things that are consumable, like as in people come back more than once. Because that's what makes fashion and clothing so brutal. Is like you sell, you sell a $300 coat. When are they coming back for their next $300 coat? Like never. Like So again, it was just like over the years looking at helping other people start things and looking at what works and doesn't work, and then in combination of, again, there's nothing easier than, or there's nothing better than just trying to like build products that revolve around the problems that you have yourself, because then you are the customer. You're not wondering what the customer's thinking because you're thinking it. And so again, continue to find that. So travel, food on the go, kids now needing like protein snack, things like that. This meat stick thing came up and I'm like, it's perfect. It solves my own problems. It's something that's consumable. People come back for more than once. And it's a broad audience. There's people in the fitness world that love it. There's people who are parents who love it. There's people who are travelers and hikers and campers. They love it. And trying to cross multiple groups of people. So, yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like the story is I started printing T-shirts,
Yeah.
and so
It's
it makes no sense.
yeah, no, but it's crazy to me how you just so nonchalant like, yeah, I used to work with Marc Jacobs, I've started all these businesses. I consulted helping people on those businesses. Like, hey, it's just Tuesday. It's just, it's just what I do on a Tuesday, man. I just, build businesses all day long.
Yeah, and I have actually. I have another. I still have my little plug is I still have a small menswear kind of lifestyle brand called Godspeed Co. Everything's all American made.
Okay.
It's with
What's the name of it again?
Godspeed Co.
Okay.
And we make some really great shirts as well as like really some fun lifestyle products. But those are with two friends I like met back when I lived in New York City, and we started this brand that we wanted to talk about the like dying world, like how the manufacturing world in the USA is like dying and struggling, and how we're trying to help support that. And we started designing products and working with these like long forgotten factories, making everything from and so that is actually something we still do and is still alive today.
Stand it.
Which has been a really, really fun continues to be a little side project. But yeah, I think I have a problem maybe with just loving doing stuff and like can't
Yeah.
stay still.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. So because before we close, what would you say, young father, he's solely focused on business. He wants to provide, a better lifestyle, for his kids and everything, all about the money. What advice would you give to a young father just starting out, you know, same kind of situation as you? What's the priority?
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to do that. If they're in their head, they're like, I gotta work so hard, gotta make as much money as I can so I can give my family a better life. There's nothing wrong with that, but I would challenge you to say like, who's that really for, right?
Gotcha.
And if it's for yourself, that's fine, but you should probably acknowledge that and just admit it. Because yeah, if you ask your kids what do they care about, they'd be like, I just want to play, Dad. I
Yeah.
just want to hang. I want to be with you. I want to do whatever you want to do. Because like we were saying earlier, it's these like little random moments that like you thought were nothing means everything to them.
Yes.
And, dude, like, yeah, 8 years, I'm preaching the choir here. It's like the time goes. So
So
like,
fast.
if you like, if you want to care about working like crazy right now, like do it. I get it. And it's exciting to do that, but it is for you.
Yeah.
And that's
No,
okay.
yeah. Yeah. My son, like I said, he's turning 19, getting ready to turn 19. He's not 19 yet. But I think about like his love for sports. That started with me and him just throwing a football around in the front yard. You know, I'd get off work, and he'd want to, Dad, can we throw the ball? I'm like, yeah, man, come on. And we sit out in the front yard for, a freaking hour, just throwing the ball around and him pretending, he was, some, pro football player or whatever have you, you know, and he will tell you to this day, hey, remember when we used to throw the football in the front yard,
Yeah.
or hey, remember when the neighbor, was peeing in the front yard while we
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
out there
Yeah.
trying to throw the ball?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
why do you remember that?
I know.
But tho- those are the moments that stick out to them, you know? Um,
Yeah. And they won't have that if you don't like put yourself out there and spend time and get out there. And it just goes so fast. And if you want to work, like just change your schedule around. Like I work late at night all the time. It's not like we're not working. It's just, I just know there's an end to it. So I'm willing to like maybe burn the candle on both ends a little bit because it will end and then I can't get it back, you
right.
know?
And I think, I'm part of a men's group. This was my first, meeting this week. And this conversation that we're having is very similar to what a lot of the guys said. You know, they value more than anything, they value their family. It's their greatest gift. And most of them, guys are a little bit older, and most of them will tell you that they just wish that they had more time. They wish that they could get the time back, because they spent so much time working, worrying about things, providing things that they missed out on the important moments,
Yeah.
you know, and now you're trying to, rebuild bridges, between you and your kids. So, Alan, I mean, man, I think I think your method is the better method, because especially at a young age, we don't know how much time we have, you know, and every moment is crucial. So, kudos to you, you and your wife. You guys are, hey, ah, when I get out of here, I'm going to talk to my wife like, hey, babe, we need to take some more trips,
Book the
spend on,
trips, man.
I,
Just go.
yeah, what else am I going to do at this point?
It's
My
great.
kids, my kids are a little bit
And
older.
and we think about that too though. Like it's not just for the kids either. Like when we were in Australia, there's like these old couples living, in these like cool camper vans,
Yes.
just hanging out, having a beer, looking at the sunset. I'm like, if we lose everything, worst case, we're gonna go live in a van and it's
Yeah.
gonna be awesome. So like
Yeah.
it can't there's just like you can find so much joy in life and you don't need as
You
much,
don't need a lot. You don't need a
Yeah.
lot of things to
Yeah.
really enjoy life. And I think
Yeah.
we've put such a price tag on things and not quality of life,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
as I've gotten older, man, I think more about the quality of my life. And that's what I care about most now. It's just the quality, the time that I get to spend, and the people I surround myself with, if so. Alan, do you want any words of wisdom, anything you want to leave us with, anything you want people to know about you or the business or businesses?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I do just practice what I do every day. Like, just remember these are the good old days. So just remember that, decide what that day is going to look like for you. And, yeah, we as a brand, we're we're the brand's Chuck. We're eatchuck.com. Currently, actually, we only ship through Canada. So
Okay.
if you're in Michigan, you got to come out and visit.
Hey, guess what? I'll
And
come. I got plenty of
and
family. I
I'll
got
and I'll
plenty of
and I'll
family in Canada.
and I'll fill up your car and you can smuggle it back. But more than happy just for people to come to check it out. Looking to spend more time on our own socials and just again talking less about meat snacks and more about what we talked about today. Just about living differently and deciding what
Outstanding.
matters. Yeah,
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for me and Mr. Alan Glanfield. Thank you so much for being on the show. Alan, if you decide that you're going to start another 32 businesses and you want to come on the show and talk about it, please let me know, man. I would be happy to, share it with the world for you because, you know, you're, uh, you're a shining example of what, listen, man, I don't say these things lightly, but you're an example of what fathers need to be focused on a little bit more now. You know, we spent so much time, again, like I said earlier, focus on things and we can't get the time back.
for sure.
So kudos to
Yeah,
you, your family. I'm wishing you many, many successes. And again, like I said, if there's ever anything that you want to talk about, you want to come back on the show, please feel free to let me know. Um, I'm going to stalk you a little bit and see what you got going on.
yeah. Let's do it. I appreciate it, Michael.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much, Alan. Hey, everybody, that's it for us. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves and God bless.